Hi, Mike Fisher here, the Fish. Let's make a simple admission about Dak Prescott, shall we? And let's all do this together. We can all say it together. We were wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. All of us about all of it. NFL teams who let him slide to the fourth round in the 2016 draft, wrong. The GM quoted by ESPN a year ago saying that Dak wasn't worth $15 million a year, wrong. The critics who thought Dallas should intentionally not sign him to an extension this year because we thought, he might need to prove himself, wrong. Those of us who thought his upside was elite bus driver, that's me, wrong. Everybody who thought $30 million APY would be too much, wrong. The entire football world, respecting Dak Prescott, though it might have, and I certainly respected what he'd done coming into this year, and I'm sure you did too, most of us did. The entire football world convincing itself that it had never be able to believe that he would be able to consistently lead a team to a win as a passer. Wrong, wrong, wrong. That old narrative, again, was not a hateful one. It was expressed by reasonable people, reasonable like you and me. Put Dak in the middle of a lineup featuring elite talent at running back, wide receiver, and offensive line. Don't demand that he throw 40 times a game, and his leadership qualities and his athletic ability and his winner mentality, that would mean team success. That's the old narrative. The new narrative, and one that has been building for quite some time. The ball needs to be in Dak's hands. Some of the decision-making process needs to be in Dak's hands or brain as well. And when all else fails, or as was the case in that 35-27 win Sunday at Detroit, before it fails, let Dak win the game for you. I talked to Zeke Elliott after that game in Detroit. Here's the quote from Zeke. Dak is playing the best football I've ever seen him play. Took his game to a next level, gets us to the line of scrimmage, changes plays, gets us in the right plays, finds the right play during certain looks, and Zeke says he's throwing the shit out of the ball. Now, Zeke is Prescott's best friend on the team, so maybe he's a little biased. Let's go to Aikman. Aikman, friend of the program here. Aikman tweets after the game, pay the man. Now, the salary cap world is a little more complex than that, but the sentiment is right. Now we've got Prescott elevating himself to next level, to a statistical place where names like Aikman and Montana and Staubach and Marino and Manning exist. So pay the man, philosophically, is the easy part. It'll happen. It was always going to happen. North of 30 million APY, and the longer the two sides wait, the more we go north of 40 million APY maybe. And the Cowboys, by the way, have cap room earmarked for that, so that's not a concern either. Those numbers are not the issue for this 26-year-old success story of whom owner Jerry Jones told me last spring, Mr. Mack, we are going to bet our future on Dak. No, it's the other numbers, the ones that, to the credit of Garrett and his coaching staff, earned attention after last week's loss to Minnesota, in which what I called institutionalized stubbornness regarding the running game contributed directly to that feat. Dak threw it 46 times in that game. The number that Garrett rebutted with when I brought up to the coach the over-reliance on the run, and he said, well, we threw it 46 times, Fish. But all the 46 means, as I said on 105.3 The Fan that day, is that they should have thrown it 47. Dak threw it exactly 46 times again in Detroit, I believe, completed 29 of them, 3 touchdowns, no picks, passer rating of 116.6. Over the course of 2 games, Prescott's got 841 passing yards, most ever by a Cowboy quarterback in back-to-back games. Oh, and his 1,098 passing yards since week 9, that's the most in a 3-game span in franchise history. You want more numbers? Swallow them whole. Prescott is the first player in team history to throw for 3,000 yards in the first 10 games of a season. With 3,221 passing yards through the team's first 10, Dak's got the 12th highest total in NFL history. Again, Marino, Manning, Montana, wow. Also, Prescott's thrown for over 400 yards 3 times this year. Romo did that, throw for 400 yards in a game. That's only been done by a handful of guys. Dak needs one more to tie the record for most 400-yard games in a year. That's Marino, Peyton Manning, and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now, Ryan Fitzpatrick, with all due respect to him, his existence on this list proves that passing numbers aren't the be-all, end-all. None of what Dak's done for this 6-4 team guarantees a win at New England this Sunday, guarantees a playoff berth after that. Doesn't work that way. But the development of Dak, now averaging 322 passing yards per game, up from 243 last year, up from 208 in 2017, bad year all around here, and then up from 229 as a rookie. That is inarguable. Love the Dak quote, "I know I can play better." That's what I focus on. I don't think too much about performances in the past. I'm not going to sit here and live too much on one performance. It's about what we can do now and how we can get better. And he can get better. Which means we now know this, a fact only the ignorant would debate anymore. In a given game, Dak can make this his team if needed. Sidebar, maybe I need to probably talk at length about this another time. Don't turn this into a his team versus his team thing. The running back and the quarterback don't need you to do that for them. They've got this handled. But in a given moment, in a given game, does Dak need the ball in his hands? Do the Cowboys need him to make it his team? Yeah, that'll happen again. Might happen in New England. And for the next half decade plus, the Dallas Cowboys are now in possession of professional football's most elusive, most valuable asset, a franchise quarterback.